From censored files to clear evidence, this is Redacted Realms.
Looking back at 5 famous Vietnamese brands from the subsidy period, just hearing the names, dear friends, memories of the subsidy period are perhaps the most memorable moments for many Vietnamese, especially the 6X, 7X generation. Although that era had many hardships and difficulties, it was always filled with simple joys and warm human connections, treasures. Back then, only well-off households could afford. Those brands now seem outdated, but they were once the dreams of countless people. Phuong Dinh shoes, delicate noodles, light bulbs, ranked down thermos flasks, Hendo pills, Thong Nha bicycles. These brands over 60 years old, once glorious. Where are they now and how are they operating? Join DHT to explore right after this. It can be said that Saigon is the cradle of many illustrious Vietnamese brands. Among those once famous brands originating from Saigon, some are still in production today, while others have faded into the past. Nevertheless, the image and imprint of these old brands remain intact in the memory of Vietnamese people. First, we must mention the legendary Thong Nha bicycle, from a symbol of wealth in our grandparents' time to its transformation into the Flash superhero. Looking back to the 80s to 90s of the last century, Thong Nha bicycles were so precious that some people who were allocated one didn't dare ride it, but hung it indoors, with both wheels off the ground, occasionally just standing to admire it and turning the pedals to hear the chains click. It must be said that in the memory of the 8X, 9X generation, this bicycle was a high-quality product, not inferior to Peugeot or Audi. It cost up to half a pail of gold, a huge sum compared to the income of many Vietnamese families at that time. It was seen as a symbol of wealth, success, and the dream of many people. Any family owning this bicycle must have been well off or held a position, thanks to its quality and positioning as a premium bicycle line. This company had a glorious period in both revenue and reputation. However, times changed, with economic opening and the rise of motorcycles, causing that national bicycle to gradually lose its monopoly in the market. In the past 10 years, Thong Nha Hanoi Joint Stock Company has seriously faced competition to regain bicycle market share, targeting markets where bicycle usage habits are still common like the US, Japan, and the EU to maintain the brand, while improving quality to meet the strict requirements of foreign markets, changing according to preferences, trends, and updating designs to suit user tastes has helped the Thong Nha bicycle line become more fashionable, expanding segments to meet the needs of more youthful and dynamic, notably the recently launched the Flash model. But it still seems difficult to escape the shadow of the past. With an affordable price and limited quantity, revenue from the Flash is probably not a huge factor for Thong Nha. But it shows the company's efforts in building a new image, so that the name Thong Nha is not just a once glorious brand. 2. Thong Nha matches the timely transformation. Oh my, if Thong Nha bicycles face challenges from motorcycles, electric bikes, imported bikes, and knockoffs, then Thong Nha matches, a once famous brand, struggled due to the rise of lighters. Matchboxes with the logo of 2 white pigeons have been attached and familiar to people throughout the 60-year journey. Not only to the 8X, 9X generation, but even early 10X youth know and consider them indispensable items in every household. In the post-war period, when gas stoves, electric stoves, or lighters were not yet common, Thong Nha matches were present on almost every grocery shelf, holding an almost absolute market share at that time. Even the sulfur smell that rose whenever someone struck a match became a legendary scent, deeply imprinted in the memory of many generations of Vietnamese. But times gradually change. The glorious period of traditional Thong Nha matches has now faded away. Matches increasingly lost their advantage compared to lighters, and Thong Nha matches market share. Therefore, Thong Nha matches decided to stop producing traditional matchboxes from 2020, shifting to producing lighters and cardboard boxes for businesses. From then on, the brand story and communication of this enterprise turned a new page. It can be said that the advent of the lighter truly became the savior for the business results of Thong Nha matches. While sales of traditional matches continuously declined, the company's revenue remained quite stable. even though the latter's market share was still insignificant. When the country strongly transitioned from a subsidy economy to a market economy, with the inundation of domestic goods and Chinese brands, the already scarce Vietnamese brands faced fierce competition. Amidst that, Outland toothpaste was truly a proud representative of Vietnamese brands. Although launched later than PS, Outland toothpaste also left a deep impression on Vietnamese consumers. However, man proposes, God disposes. Despite having extremely, since giants in the fast-moving consumer goods industry appeared and dominated the market like Unilever or Colgate-Palmolive, Outland or PS have become mere names of the past. Therefore, despite great efforts, the 1995 deal worth $3 billion United States dollars when Outland sold itself to Colgate-Palmolive still left many people with regret, because this was not just a Vietnamese brand, but also a witness to Vietnam's economic development during the Doi Moi renovation period. For many, Outland toothpaste was not just an ordinary product, but also a symbol of the Vietnamese people. Rewinding time, when domestic soap products at that time were quite poor. Mainly small household productions for hand washing or laundry. Entrepreneur Trong Van Ban boldly invested in this sector with technology from abroad. By combining coconut oil, caustic soda, and some other it can be said that the impressive launch of Coba soap made a big splash with quality not inferior to the famous imported Maxi soap at the time, it bearing the Made in Vietnam label, appealing to the Vietnamese psychology and supporting domestic goods. The woman with a bun, a beautiful and charming face always appearing on Coba soap products is Coba Thu. A girl from Tra Vinh, of exceptional beauty, who was crowned Miss Saigon over 150 years ago. However, not escaping the law of life and death, Coba soap went through the ups and downs of the time. The once celebrated brand of Mr. Trong Van Van and his children was nearly forgotten. Although not discontinued, Coba soap still operates quite precariously and only appears modestly in a few supermarkets. But even until now, it remains a name that evokes the glorious era of Vietnamese products. A brand famous not only in Vietnam but also in the Soviet Union and Eastern European countries from the 60s to 70s of the last. The familiar Sao Dang ointment box to Vietnamese people because it seemed to cure all ailments. In the 1980s, every family had one or two small star-shaped ointment boxes. Sao Gio. Some even trusted Sao Dang ointment so much that whenever they felt ill, it would swallow this spicy, pungent substance. But since the collapse of the Soviet Union, the country opened up. Sao Dang ointment faced difficulties with imported medicated oils, balms, and healthcare products. Nevertheless, recently, this product has become a hot hit when sold extensively on foreign e-commerce sites at super high prices. But strangely, although Sao Dang ointment sells well abroad, domestically it is being neglected. 6. Han Kok, Toad, a treasure against heat and sun, made in Vietnam, Lord of Wind, Master of Cooling, Queen of Coolness, Destroyer of Sultriness. The timeline whenever it was hot, people would take a Han Kok fan out from the charcoal stove makes many people to sell. In the 1980s, this fan model was sold at state stores for 35 dong, equivalent to half a month's salary of a fresh graduate at that time. This price gave the fan another name, a 35 fan. Under the difficult conditions of the economy, the Con Kok fan quickly became a valuable asset for Vietnamese families during the subsidy period. By the 1990s, due to the operation of the market economy, this Con Kok fan model gradually disappeared from households due to the influx of imported fans, with more diverse designs and functions. However, the Con Kok fan is still produced by Dean Co Dong Nhot to this day. The new fans have only changed slightly in design, sold for about 200,000 Vietnamese dollars, no longer hunted and precious as in the subsidy period. Con Kok. Even after more than half a century, Con Kok. Milliket instant noodles originated from the legend of instant noodles, a brand that dominated the food market during the subsidy period. With the two shrimp logo in the 80s, Milliket noodles were a premium dish, priced from 500 minus 1,000 Vietnamese dongs. Expensive. Therefore, it wasn't always possible to eat Milliket noodles, even only when sick and won't be nourished with instant noodles. Then in the 90s, when the economy was more stable, Milliket noodles became popular and a favorite dish of every Vietnamese family. Especially, it was the dry ration associated with many generations of students. At the beginning of the month, when parents hadn't sent money for food yet, mid-month when friends visited, instant noodles were served. End of the month when money ran out, and then, Vietnam entered the trend of integration. Big players in the food industry gradually entered the market. A series of other noodle types emerged. The fate of Milliket instant noodles changed. Many say that over 30 years, the two Milliket shrimps still touch heads, content with their lot. But now, the two shrimps can no longer compete in the vast market. Increasingly pushed back to small markets, remaining only in the legend of instant noodles, and there are many brands that once shone during the subsidy period. Remember back then, the dream of children in provincial towns was to eat Trang Tien ice cream or Phui Tha butter ice cream. The 7X, 8X generations grew up with those familiar names. But then the country entered the integration period. Now many Vietnamese brands are just memories of a bygone era. However, the memory of that difficult yet peaceful, happy time remains intact in the hearts of Vietnamese people. All the familiar, close items of a distant past are now recreated in many exhibition rooms, displays, and cafes loved by the youth. Were you impressed by any Vietnamese brand from the subsidy period? Please leave your opinion. Subscribe to the Redacted Realms channel and hit the bell to receive notifications. Subscribe to the Key and Nico channel so you don't miss exciting videos.
If this file opened your eyes, subscribe and open the next case.